We're on Daf Yud Ches Amud Aleph. It's all Agadah today. The very sad Agadah about Rabbi Chanina ben Trajan. This is the third case of where Rebbe's going to cry and remarking that some can acquire their world to come in just one moment of martyrdom and righteousness. Okay, so we're still in the middle. Rabbi Chanina ben Trajan has almost expresses like a death wish in the story, where he basically, his cellmate, Rabbi Lazar ben Prata, does everything that he can to escape execution. And Rabbi Chanina ben Trajan, this is, you're accused of studying Torah. Why did you do it? He says, because God told me to, and that's it, you know? And his attitude is, I need to become a martyr so that I can strengthen Klal Yisrael that way. He decided that was his role. We're not exactly sure why he made that decision, but that was his cheshbon. He's sentenced to death by burning. His wife is sentenced to death through a lesser form of execution, and his daughter is sentenced to be consigned to a brothel for the rest of her life. So we're up to about 20 lines down on Daf Yud Ches Amud Aleph. B'shar sheyatzu shloshtan tzadku aleim es hadin. As they're all being taken away, they all pronounce justice upon themselves. In other words, to be matzdik es hadin is to basically say that Hashem, you are the right one. We're the ones, if anything bad is happening to us, it's because of us, and you are meting out proper justice. Hu amar hatzur tamim pa'alo v'goymer. So Rabbi Chanina said, God is the rock, his behavior is pure. And that's the famous pasuk from Parshas Ha'azinu. The Ishto Amra, she finished the pasuk, Kel Amuna ve'ein avel, God is a faithful God without any perversion. Bito Amra, Gadol Ha'etza, his daughter says a pasuk, which is from Yirmiyah. God is of great counsel, V'rav Ha'aliliyah, Asher Einecha Fikuchos Al Kol Darchei B'nei Adam, Laseis Leish Kidrachav V'chifri Ma'alalav. That you, Hashem, are the great of counsel, and you know exactly what you're doing because your eyes are always upon mankind to give each person according to the fruit of his labor. Amar Rebbe, Kama Gedolim Tzadikim Halalu Shenizdamnu Lahem Shalosh Mikros Shal Tziduk Hadin B'Shas Tziduk Hadin. This is a sign of the great righteousness of this people, that they were able to invoke just exactly the right pasuk as they needed to. In other words, it's a sign of not only scholarship, but of great righteousness, that even in a time of great upheaval, you're able to have the soundness of mind to realize what's going on. Tanu Rabbanan, Kishachala Rabbi Yossi ben Kisma, Halach Rabbi Chanina ben Trajan Levakra. Now, this is the prelude to the whole story. In other words, now we're going back in time, sort of like a flashback to the events that led up to Rabbi Chanina ben Trajan getting put in jail. This is a story about Rabbi Chanina visiting his Rebbe, Rabbi Yossi ben Kisma. But you'll see they took two opposite approaches to dealing with the persecuting Roman authority. Amar lo Chanina achi iyata yodeya she'uma zu min hashamayim him lichuha. So Rabbi Yossi ben Kisma is quite ill. He's elderly. He's on his deathbed. Rabbi Chanina goes to visit him, and Rabbi Yossi gives him a gentle rebuke. He says, Rabbi Chanina, don't you realize that this nation has been coronated by heaven? Shehechriva es beso v'sarfa es echolo v'harga es chasida v'avda es tuva v'adaini kayemes. Look what Hashem has allowed them to do. They've destroyed the Beis HaMikdash. They've burned down the covered Heichal. They've killed all of the pious. They have destroyed all of the goodness, and yet Rome is still standing. So isn't that in itself a sign that God is sanctioning them? Vani shamati alecha shata yoshe va'osek b'torah makal kilos barabim v'sefer Torah munach lecha b'chekecha. And yet I hear about you, that you ignore this. You sit and study Torah, gathering together huge crowds of people with a sefer Torah in your bosom, sharing the Torah with everyone. Amar lo min hashamayim yirachamu. So Rabbi Chanina's response is a three-word response. From heaven they'll have mercy. So Amar lo ani omer lecha dvarim shel tam vata omer li min hashamayim yirachamu. So Rabbi Yossi is annoyed. He says, I'm telling you very logical things, and
you're practical almost.
Very practical, very pragmatic, and you're just saying, "Oh, they'll have mercy from heaven." That's not the appropriate response. But apparently, this is an indication of the two different approaches. Rabbi Yossi ben Kisma takes a conciliatory approach. The persecutors are going to kill us if we don't listen to them, so we've got to lay low. And Rabbi Chanina's attitude is, you know what? I understand everything you said. God is sanctioning them, but we've got to show HaKadosh Baruch Hu that we're not going to relent, and we're going to persist even to the point of death. And maybe that is going to be the stimulus to cause Hashem to have mercy upon us. But Rabbi Yossi doesn't accept it, and he says, Tamani im lo yisrafu oscha ve'sefer Torah ba'esh. He says, I wouldn't be surprised if because of the position you're taking, they're going to burn you and the Sefer Torah in fire. Amar lo Rebbe mani l'chai olam haba. So Rabbi Chanina changes the subject. He says, Rebbe, tell me, despite our difference of opinion and a difference of approach, will I still get a share in the world to come? Amar lo klum ma'isa b'liyadcha. So Rabbi Yossi says, have you done anything good in your life? In other words, tell me what acts of kindness you've done. Remember, yesterday we saw that Rabbi Chanina felt that he didn't deserve to live because he hadn't done sufficient kindness. So Rabbi Yossi says, tell me one act of kindness you've done. So Amar lo mos shel purim nischalfuli b'mos shel tzedakah v'chilaktem laniyim. This is what the Gemara had quoted yesterday. He said, one Erev Purim, I had money that I had set aside for my own personal Suda, but it got accidentally commingled with money that was set aside for Matanos Levyonim. And instead of pulling out a small amount for my Suda, I gave it all away to the Aniyah. So Amar lo, im kein mechelkacha yehi chelki, umigorolcha yehi goroli. So Rabbi Yossi says this is an indication that you are truly selfless, and therefore may my portion be with your portion, and my lot be with your lot. Now you've demonstrated that despite our difference of approach, you're completely l'shem shamayim without any objectives for personal gain. Amru lo haya yamim mu'atim ad shenifter Rabbi Yossi ben Kisma v'holchu kol gedoli romi lekavru v'hisbidu hespid gadol. So shortly thereafter, Rabbi Yossi ben Kisma passes away. And because he was so conciliatory with the Roman authorities, a whole group of Roman dignitaries attended his funeral and participated in the Hespedim. You can imagine, you have your governmental Jews, the Jews who work with the government, and then the Jews who are the anti-government Jews. So Rabbi Yossi was a pro-government, and so they all showed him honor. And uvachazarasa mitzula Rabbi Chanina ben Tradun sheyoshev osik b'Torah makol kilos b'Rabbim v'sefer Torah munach lo b'cheiko. But yet, when they come back, and they're still in the Jewish quarter, they see Rabbi Chanina gathering a crowd of people and teaching them Torah flagrantly in violation of the Roman law that you cannot teach Torah publicly. It's sedition, right? So that's the back part of the story. Now we fast forward back to the present, where Rabbi Chanina is now being executed.
Is that Ki'ilu as he's putting himself in a Makom Sekana?
Also, that's everything that I've been alluding to up until now. That's, again, remember, we're reading a lot. I'm reading that into the Gemara. Okay, so it needs to be discussed and unpacked. Hevi'uhu v'karchu b'sefer Torah v'hikifuhu b'chavilei zmoros v'hetzisu bohenes ha'or v'hefius fugin shel tzemer v'sharon b'mayim v'henichum al libo k'dei shelo teitzei nishmaso me'era. So you know the story. They wrapped him in a sefer Torah. They surrounded him with dry branches. They ignited the fire, and they brought wool, like balls of wool, and soaked them in water so that they would, and placed them on his heart so that the fire would not ignite his body too quickly, so that he would die a slow death. Amr lo bito abba erecha bekach. So his daughter says, Father, how can I see you this way? Meaning she was saying, essentially, how can such a righteous man die such a horrible death? Amar la ilmole ani nisrafti lavadi hayadavar kashali. Achshav shani nisraf sefer Torah imi misham evakesh elvona shel sefer Torah hu yevakesh elboni. He says, if I was dying alone, it would be very hard. But now that I'm being executed together with a sefer Torah, which is being burned with me, he who shall seek out the disgrace of the Torah shall seek out the vengeance for my disgrace. Amru lo talmid of Rebbe ma'ata roeh. So Tosfos says the students noticed that there was something unusual in this scene. They couldn't figure it out. So they said, Rebbe, what do you see? What's going on in that fire? Amr lahen gilyon nisrafim v'osios parchos. So he said to them the famous quote, I see the parchment burning, but the letters are flying off the parchment and going up to heaven. And that's essentially what we believe, is that the body dies and the soul ascends and into the ether. So they said, but Rebbe, why are you allowing yourself to suffer? Open up your mouth so that the fire will come in and you'll die faster. He said, it's better that the Lord who gave me my soul should take it away. I should not hasten my own death. And this is cited actually in the whole, euthanasia issue. Amar lo kal tzatoniri Rebbe yamani marbe b'shalheves v'notel sfugen shel tzermen me'al libecha to mevin l'chai olam haba. So the executioner says to Rabbi Chanina, Rabbi, if I increase the flame and I remove the wet wool from off your heart so that you'll die faster with less pain, will you bring me with you to the world to come? Amar lo hein, he said yes. He shavali, swear to me, nishpalo, and he swore. Miyad hirba b'shalheves v'notal sfugen shel tzermen me'al libo v'yatza nishmasu b'mehera. So that's what the executioner did, and Rabbi Chanina therefore perished much more quickly. Afu kafatz v'nafal l'socha or, and the executioner himself jumped into the fire to commit an act of martyrdom, realizing that he had, Rabbi Chanina and the Jews were righteous. Yatza abaskol ve'amr Rabbi Chanina ben Trajan ve'kal tzatoniri mizumanin hein l'chai olam haba. And a heavenly voice rang out and said that both Rabbi Chanina and the executioner have a share in the world to come. Bacha Rebbe va'amar yesh kona alama b'sha'echas v'yesh kona alama b'kama shanim. Rebbe cried, and he said that some people can acquire their world in one instant, while others have to spend an entire lifetime acquiring their world to come. So remember, the three stories, all in succession, in the first chapter of AVODAH ZARA.
What was the first one again?
Ketia bar Shalom.
What was that one again?
He was the one who defended the Jews against the emperor. And the emperor said, good defense, but anyone who defeats the emperor in disputation gets put to death. The second one was Rabbi Elazar ben Dordaya. And the third one was Rabbi Chanina ben Trajan. Bruria devisu de Rabbi Meir barati de Rabbi Chanina ben Trajan havai. Amra lozila bimilsa diasvi achtoi bekuba shel zonos. So now there's the next chapter of the story. After Rabbi Chanina is executed, his wife is executed, but Rabbi Chanina's daughter is in a brothel. And so Rabbi Chanina's daughter had an older sister who her name was Bruria. She was married to Rabbi Meir. So now we're seeing all of the family connections. She says to her husband Rabbi Meir, it says, it's so disgraceful that I have to see my sister, my younger sister, in a brothel. We've got to do something. So Shakal Tarkava Didinri Va'aza. So Rabbi Meir says, fine. He took a chest full of coins, and he decided to go and see what he could do to ransom her. Amar ilo isavid isura misavid nisa, iavdu isura lo isavid la nisa. And he said to himself that if she has retained her purity, meaning she has not been defiled, so then I'm confident that Hashem will do a miracle and I'll be able to save her. But if not, then it's not going to work. Azal nakat nafshe kechad parsha. So he wanted to find out whether she had been defiled. So he disguised himself as a Roman centurion. Amar la hashmi'ini li, and he says to her, consort with me. I want to hire you. Amar le dishtana ana. She says, I'm sorry, sir. I'm having my period. Amar la matrachna mirtach. He said to her, I'll wait for you. Amar lo nefishin tuva deshapirin minai. She said, why, sir? There's so many other ladies that are here who are even more attractive than I am. So don't bother. So Amar shma minalo avdu isura kol da'asi Amar lehachi. So Rav Meir says, aha, I see she's retained her purity.
She says
and she basically says this to every John. So Azal legabe I'm glad there's no one named John in the room today. Also, Lagabe Shomer Dida. So Rabbi Meir goes to her, sort of like the guard who's her pimp, I suppose, and Amar Le Hava Nihala. And he says, listen, I'd like to do me a favor, surrender her to me. She's my sister-in-law. You got to help me out here. Amar Le Mistafina mi Malchusa. So the guard says, how can I? He says, they're going to take it out on me if I've got to deliver. This was her sentence. She's now working for the Roman government. So Amar Le Shkol Tarkava Dedinri Palga Plach Palga Lihavilach. So Rabbi Meir says, take this chest full of dinars. Half of it you can use to bribe your superiors, and the other half you keep for yourself as a nice retirement package. So Amar Le V'chishalmi Ma'iyavid. But 1 second, I've got to pay a monthly due for what this prostitute is supposed to bring in. And when the money runs out, what am I going to do then? So Amar Le Ema Elaka de Meir Aneni Umital Salt. Famous Elaka de Meir Aneni. Right?
I thought that was Meir
Say. That is, say 1 second. So Rabbi Meir says to the guard, just say the following words, Elaka de Meir Aneni, God of Meir, answer me, and miracles will happen and you'll be saved. So you won't have to worry for the rest of your life. Now, we have this minhag. Right. My wife swears by it.
It works.
Right.
I've used it twice. It works.
Have a pushka.
15 times with me.
Have a pushka in your house for Rabbi Meir Balanes, and if you lose something and you can't find it, you say, Elaka de Meir Aneni. You put some money in the pushka, and my wife says it always works.
Just don't want to lose the pushka.
But that's not. But the origin is from this Gemara. You understand? I don't know how it sort of
Switched
how
guys.
it
No,
came.
for numerous things, the push was.
So I should really do a shir on whether whether you're even allowed to do this. Is this nichush? Is it or not?
It's in the Gemara, why not?
But you always find the last place you look after that.
Okay. Anyway, let's
It's in
go
the Gemara,
back.
so why it's in the Gemara? Why can't you do it?
Because Rabbi Meir was referring specifically to a specific case of the guard of the brothel. He wasn't saying anytime you say this for any person in the world that it's going to work.
And it was Rabbi Meir. I mean, who we said?
Yeah, and it was Rabbi Meir. So okay. Anyway, Amar Le,
It's his own name. It was his own name.
Amar Le, mi yemar dahachi ika. So the guard says, he's smart to be suspicious. He says, how do I know what you're saying is true? You're going to give me the money, you'll run away, and I'll just say, Elaka de Meir Aneni, and they'll kill me. How do I know it's going to work? So Amar Le, hashla chazis. Here, watch, you'll see. Havu hano kalbi dava ka'achli inshi. So there were these wild dogs that were plaguing this area and were eating people. So shakal kala shadabahu havu ka'asalamechle Amar Elaka de Meir Aneni shavkua. So Rabbi Meir took a clod of earth when he saw a pack of dogs, of wild dogs, threw it at them in the presence of this guard. The dogs start running because he's provoked them now. They start running towards him. They want to attack him and eat him. And all of a sudden Rabbi Meir says, Elaka de Meir Aneni, and the dogs stop. So the guard is duly impressed, and therefore v'yahavalei. So he surrenders his Rabbi Meir's sister-in-law to him. And eventually the authorities found out that they had given up this political prisoner in the brothel to the rabbi. So they said to the guard, they arrested him. You're a criminal now. How could you do that? And they want to take him to either be hanged or crucified. So Amar Elaka de Meir Aneni Achtua. And he said, God of Meir, answer me. And every time they tried to put him up, they couldn't. He kept coming down. Wow. So Amrule, my high. So they said, what's going on here? What kind of charm have you placed upon yourself? Amr lahu hachi havamaisa. So he confessed and he told them the Rabbi Meir was the one who gave me this special power. Asu chakaku lidmuse de Rabbi Meir apischa de Romi. Amri kol dechazi lepartzufa hadein laise. So they put basically like a wanted poster with Rabbi Meir's picture on this poster at the entrance to Rome, and presumably in the Middle East as well. And they said, anyone who finds this guy, arrest him and bring him to the authorities. Yom achada chazyohe rata basre rat mikamayo ola bezonos. One day, someone spotted Rabbi Meir, runs after him. Rabbi Meir runs away to escape. He says, what am I going to do? It's like one of those movie chase scenes, right? Where he runs into the bazaar How am I going to disguise myself? So he runs into a brothel.
Of all places.
They figure they'll never think to look for me here. So Ika da Amri Bishuli Ovdei Kochavim Chaza Tomash Baha Umasak Baha Ika da Amri Asa Eliyahu Admilei Kazona Karkachte and Amri Chas V'Sholmi Reb Meir Hava Lo Hava Avid Hachi. So what happened was that the guy unfortunately saw him run into the brothel, so they figured he's got to be in there somewhere. They run into the brothel, and Rabbi Meir by now has disguised himself, but how is he going to show that he's not Rabbi Meir? So he's got to do some kind of behavior that's going to throw them off his scent. So he pretends that he's a heathen. And so there's two opinions as how he pretended he was a heathen. Either there was a pot of chazer stew, and he stuck his finger in and pretended that he was licking his finger, but he really licked the other finger. He stuck his pointer in and he licked his middle finger. Others say that Eliyahu Hanavi came along and disguised as a prostitute and gave Rabbi Meir a big hug. And so they said, no, there's no way it can be Rabbi Meir. Now, don't try this at home. Don't say, honey, it was Eliyahu Hanavi. You better not try this, But anyway, it worked. It worked for Rabbi Meir. So Kam Arak Asa LaBavel. So he was able to escape, and he ran away to Bavel. And Ika da Amri Mehai Maisa, Ika da Amri Mimaisa the Bruya. So we know that Reb Meir ended up in Bavel towards the end of his life. Some say it was because of this incident, that he could never go back to Eretz Yisrael, where the Romans had a price on his head. And others say that it was because of a different story, because of the story of Bruria. Now, it's a tragic story. We're not going to get into it in too much depth today, but the story goes that, and Rashi brings down the details of the story, that
Kiddushin.
Bruria, it's actually not brought down in any explicit place in the Gemara, but Bruria was a very, very sharp and studious woman. She knew Kol HaTorah Kula. And one day a young man approached her on the street and started schmoozing with her, and she chastises the young man and says, how dare you engage in idle conversation with a woman? So he says, I'm going to get that woman. How dare a woman tell me what to do and what not to do, right? So he devises a plot, this yeshiva bacher, that he's going to cause someone to seduce Bruria and to show that she's not so pious. And a guy pressures her, and finally she starts at least cave in at least conversing with the person. So, aha, we've got her. Bruria realizes that this was a ruse, and she realizes that she has in some way caved in some slight way, so she committed suicide. She went up to the rooftop and she committed suicide. She was so distraught. Terrible story, has to be really understood properly. But Rabbi Meir was so broken.
It's her husband, right?
Rabbi Meir, her husband, was so broken over this, and he was so humiliated that the B'nai Torah should do this to a righteous woman, that he basically he took off. He went to Babel. He says, I'm out of here. Anyway, well, this is the version in today's DAF. If you want to give us your version, you'll tell us later. Tana Rabbanan. Let's take a look now at the Brisa. Ha'holech li'itztadinin v'lakarkom v'rasham esanachashim v'esachavrin bukyon u'mukyon u'mulyon v'lulyon belurin salugarin hareza moishav leitzim. The Brisa tells us that if you go to stadiums and coliseums, and the difference is, Rashi says that a stadium is a place where they do like bullfights and a karkom is a place, Rashi says, that it's a matzor, it's a fortress, va'osin sham schok v'leitzanos. And they do, they play games, and they do all different kinds of folly.
Cherry races.
Maybe, I don't know.
Hockey
games, who knows? So if you see there all different kinds of snakes and snake charmers, and all of these other names are different kinds of entertainments. The guys the sword swallowers and the fire blowers. And
Circus.
It's like a circus, Cirque du Soleil. Right. So Hareza Moishav Leitzim. This is a gathering of, they translate leitzim many times as scoffers, but it seems from the context of the Gemara that it just means that anyone who indulges in entertainment for the sake of entertainment. And this is viewed critically by Chazal, Because you're wasting your time. You're wasting your life away. Va'aleim ha'kosu v'omer.
Don't you need entertainment?
Va'aleim ha'kosu v'omer.
I'm just curious. These guys are practical guys.
You're raising a good point.
People need a game, a movie, or something. No, something. Don't they? Just to carry on as a human being. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
The DAF Gemara.
Or just to carry on in the DAF.
You gotta answer.
It is a different world today. It is a different world today, and we certainly resonate with the theme of the Gemara, which is don't live for these activities. But if you feel you need it in order to strengthen your resolve to be a better Eved Hashem, like sleeping, like if hockey games are like sleeping for you, like you need it in order to be a better Eved Hashem,
Scream and yell.
to de-stress, right? To decompress, right? So okay.
You got your head there. You're good.
On tape as well.
Fortunate is the man who does not, this is the very first pasuk in Tehillim. Fortunate is the man who does not go in the counsel of the wicked, does not stand in the path of the sinner, and does not sit in the group of scoffers. But all he focuses on is the Torah of Hashem, and that's his whole desire. So you see that these activities lead a person to not study Torah. Now, what do you mean it leads him? He's not. It is bittul Torah in and of itself. So what I believe the Gemara is saying is that not only are you not studying Torah during the time when you're at the circus, but you're also it's leading you away from Torah study even when you're not in the circus, because it's right. It's right, exactly. So or a mini. So let's raise a contradiction. Holchen leitztadinen muter mipnei shetzavachu matzil ulakarka muter mipnei yishuv medina uvad shelo yischashev imoyim vim nischashev imoyim aser. So there's another brisa that says that it is permitted to go to the stadium because when you go to the stadium, you have a chance of saving a Jew's life. Like, what if the next combatant in the gladiator fight is a Jew? And you can save his life by screaming and making a scene and say, hey, that guy in the, we need him. And we need him for
That's right. Or you give him moral support and he plays better.
Right, or what?
And he beats the lion.
Okay. So, and you're allowed to go to a fortress where they have sports, like a coliseum. You're allowed to go there in order for Yishuv Medina, which seems to mean that for political purposes, in order to mingle to rub shoulders with these people, then it's okay, provided that you're not actively supporting any idolatrous practice. Like, say, if they sing the national anthem, which contains, and we thank the goddess Aphrodite, or whatever it is, you can't participate in those activities. But just to go and be passive observer is okay if it'll garner favor with the government. So kasha itztadinin haitztadinin, kasha karkom akarkom, isn't it? So therefore we have a contradiction. One brisa says categorically it's never permitted to go to the stadium or the coliseum, and over here it says at times it's permitted. So bishlam akarkom lo kasha kan b'mischashev imoim kan b'shein mischashev imoim. So the Colosseum case, we can clearly see the distinction, is that the brisa which says it's forbidden is because they're actively engaged in idolatrous practice and you're forced to do the same, therefore you can't go. But when you can just be a passive observer, so that's when the brisa says it's okay. But ela itztadinin haitztadinin kasha, but there's no such equivocation in the case of the stadium. One says categorically you cannot go to a stadium to watch the gladiator fight, and the other one says you could go to the stadium in order to curry political favor. So the Gemara says, you know what? Tanoihi. It is a machlokes tanoim. There's different opinions as far as whether you can go to the stadium or not.
The movies are not.
The Tanya, ein holchen leitztadinen mipnei, you're not allowed to go to the stadium. The brisa says the girs in front of us is mipnei moshav leitzim because it's a gathering of scoffers. But the Bach says that the real girsa is mipnei shein shovchei damim because they're a bunch of murderers. Why should you actively promote or support gladiator fighting, which is going to result in someone's death. Like, you wouldn't want to go to a bullfight even today. A bullfight is just so grotesque, you know. Maybe baseball, basketball, but even sometimes football is a grotesque sport because and hockey, boxing, right there you go, you know. So Rabbi Nassan matir mipnei shnei dvarim, and Rabbi Nassan says it's okay for two reasons. Echad mipnei shetzavach umatzil. One is because maybe you can successfully intervene and save a Jew's life if he gets stuck. And a second reason is that in the event that you can't, but you see a Jew get killed in the gladiator pit, you can at least testify so that his wife will not be an aguna, she'll be able to remarry. Tana Rabbanan, Ein Hochen. I guess you can go to the hockey game to testify that one of your favorite players got beat up so that his wife can remarry. Tana Rabbanan, Ein Hochen, Litartios ulekarkasios b'mpnei shemazavlim shamzivo lavodes kolchavim divrei mer. So the Brisa, again, presents two opinions. It says you're not allowed to go ever to theaters or circuses because they organize duty for the Avodah Zarah. In other words, they use that for collection to pay for the Avodah Zarah service. So by you paying the admission price, and maybe they'll pass around the plate, you're supporting Avodah Zarah. And v'chachamim omrim makom shemezablim as mipnei chshad avodas kolchav, v'makom shemezablim sham aser mipnei moishav leitzim. And the chachamim say it depends. They agree that it's always aser, but when they're collecting for Avodah Zarah, you can't go because it's Avodah Zarah. It's a suspicion that you're participating in Avodah Zarah. But if they're not collecting for Avodah Zarah, it's still Asr because it's a Moshav Leitzim. It's a gathering of just a bunch of time-wasting scoffers. So my Beinai, what's the difference practically if everyone agrees that it's Asr? Amar Rabbi Chanina Misura Nasa v'Nasan Ika Beinayu. The difference is that what if I, as an enterprising Jew, go to the circus and set up a concession stand and sell balloons? So if everyone that's there is engaging in commercial trade for Avodah Zarah, then I can't even use the money because the money may have been exchanged for idolatry. But if they're not actively engaging in raising funds for idolatry, so then I can have a little concession stand at the circus and make a few bucks, and I'm allowed to keep it. Darash Rabbi Shimon ben Pazi, even though lechatchila you shouldn't go because it's a Moshav Leitzim, but if you sold some balloons, you can keep the money.
You're not actually watching. You just standing outside with the concession.
Yeah, but it seems like from the Gemara that it's only b'di'evet that you can keep the money. Darash Rabbi Shimon ben Pazi, ma'idich ashrei ha'isha asher lo halach ba'atzas rishoyim u'v'derech ha'toim lo amad v'moshav leitzim lo yashav v'chi me'achar shelo halach heichan amad me'achar shelo amad heichan yashav u'me'achar shelo yashav heichan latz. So he really is questioning that first pasuk in Tehillim. There are three verbs. Fortunate is the man who didn't walk in the ways of the wicked, and he didn't stand in the path of the sinners, and he didn't sit in the gathering of the leitzim, of the scoffers. So I don't understand. If you started off by saying he didn't walk, then certainly he didn't stand, so then why is the next verb he didn't stand? It's almost like in reverse order. So the Gemara says you have to explain it like this. So you're supposed to infer the negative from the positive, or the positive from the negative. That if you did walk, you'll eventually stand. If you stood, you'll eventually sit, and if you sat, it's a progression. In other words, don't think that, well, you know what, I'm not going to participate in this gathering of wicked people, but let me just stand for a second and hear what they're saying. You know what's going to happen? You're eventually going to sit down, and eventually you're going to join in with all the lashon hara and the mockery. Yeah. And if you end up becoming one of those scoffers, the pasuk says, "Im chachakta chacham tolach v'latzta levad chatisa," that if you become wise, it's only for yourself. V'latzta levad chatisa, and your scoffing will be something that you have to bear on your own. Amar Rabbi Lazar kol hamislotzeitz yisurin boin olav shenamar ve'ata al tislotzetzu pen yechezku mosreichen. Anyone who becomes a joker, someone who jokes and goofs around a lot, will be afflicted by suffering, because it says, and now do not be a scoffer, because your bonds will tighten. Amar lehu Rava l'Rabbana b'mantusa beina minaychu delo tislotzesu delo leisi lachi yisurin. And Rabbi says to the Chachamim, please guys, do me a favor, stop joking around. there's a word in Yiddish, a vitz. They in the yeshiva also, the guys would joke around. It was a very common occurrence. Mm-hmm. And Rabbi said to them, please, guys, don't do that because I don't want you to have to suffer as a result based on what we know, that joking around brings to suffering. What you see from here is that it was clearly an activity that even the sages were engaged in, but you can't overdo it. And that's really what Rav is saying.
It's a human activity.
It's a human activity. Amar Rav Katina, kol ha-mislotzeitz mizonosov mismoatin. Anyone who scoffs around, his provisions will diminish. Shenamar moshach yado es lotzitzim, that it says that God will remove his hand from the lotzitzim. Amar Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish kol ha-mislotzeitz nofel begehenim. Anyone who scoffs will fall into Gehenim. Shenamar, as the pasuk, this is a pasuk in Mishlei, Zaid Yahir late Shemo, Osa be'evra zadon. A person who intentionally is arrogant or haughty will be called a letz, a scoffer, and if he does these things, he will fall into the evra of intent. What is the word evra? It means wrath. Ve'ein evra ela Gehenna, but it's a reference to Gehenna. Shenamar yom evra hayom hahu. There will be a day of great reckoning of wrath, which is a reference to the Gehenna of the next world. Amar Rabbi Oshia kol ha-misyahir nofel begehenim shnemer zayd yahir leit shemo osa be'evra zadon ve'ein evra ela Gehenna shnemer yom evra hayom hahu. He says, look at the first words of the pasuk. It's not only if you become a letz, but if you become haughty, you'll fall into Gehenna based on that same pasuk. Amar Rabbi Chaniloi bar Chaniloi kol ha-mislotzeitz gorim kli ha'olam. If a person who scoffs, kids around too much, causes destruction to be wrought in the world, shenemar ve'ata al tislotzetzu pen yechesku mosreichem ki kol v'nechritza shamati. That the pasuk says, do not engage in leitzanus, because your bonds will tighten, and then there'll be kichala, the nechritza. There'll be a type of destruction that'll come from that I have heard will come from Hashem. Amar Rabbi Lazar kashahi shetchilasa yisurin v'sofo kliyah. See how terrible it is to be mitlotzeitz, to be a scoffer and to a joker. Because anyone who engages this starts with suffering and ends with destruction. Darash Reb Shimon ben Pazi, Ashrei ha'isha asher lo halach. Fortunate is the man who does not follow in this path. The first pasuk in Tehillim, shelo halach litartios lekarkasiyos shelo v'kuchavim. It's referring to a person who does not go to the theaters and circuses of the idolaters. Uvederach atoim lo amad zeh shelo amad bikan gion. Does not stand in the path of the sinners. This refers to a person who does not go on an animal hunt. The fox hunts in Britain, where they would all get on their horses and then they send out a fox and the dogs go chasing after it. That's the type of hunt, but it's probably even more primitive in the times of the Gemara. But again, you don't go on a hunt. Uvamoshav leitzim lo yoshav shelo yoshav b'tachbulos. And he doesn't sit in a group of scoffers, that he doesn't sit and start plotting things. It's not really clear what a group of tachbulos is. He doesn't sit in a group that are plotting things, but basically it's chewing the fat. Shema yomer adam ho v'lo halachli l'tartios l'karkasios v'lo madati b'kan gion elech ve'esgara b'shena. So you might think, well, a person could say to himself, okay, I don't have any of these vices. I don't go to the theaters and circuses. I don't go on animal hunts, so let me at least take a dremel and sleep in a little bit more. So the Gemara says, no, Tamalomar uvesaraso yehege yoimam v'layla. No, it's necessary to engage in Torah study day and night. With that extra time. There you go. Got to come to the DAF. Amar Rav Shmuel bar Nachmeni, Amar Rabbi Yonasan, Ashrei ha'isha shelo halach batzas rishoyim, ze Avram Avinu. This pasuk actually refers to Avraham, Shalohalach ba'atzas anshe dor haflaga, that he did not follow the counsel of the people who built the Tower of Babel. Sherishaymai, because they were wicked. Shenamar hava nivna lanu ir. They said, let's build a city, and Avram refused to participate. U'v'derech chatoim lo amad, shelo amad ba'amidas dam shechatoim hayu, and did not stand in the path of the sinners. This refers to the people of Sodom that Avram refused to follow. As it says that the people of Sodom were quite evil. Uvamoshav leitzim lo yashav, and he did not sit in the council of the scoffers. Shelo yashav b'moshav anshe plishtim, they shaleit sanim hayu. that he didn't consort with the Plishtim, because the Philistines were known to be late sanim. They were people who loved to joke around and to engage in entertainment. Shenamar, and how do we know this? Because in the book of Judges it says about the Philistines, Vayihi ketov libam, vayom ukiru l'Shimshon v'yisachik lanu. They had a stadium. That's where they chained Shimshon to, and they brought him out one day and they said, let's see how strong the champion of the Jews is. This was sport for them. So therefore you see that it refers to Avram Avinu, who did not join the council of the people of Bavel, did not join the council of Sodom, and did not join the council of the Philistines. And basically, we're supposed to learn from the first Jew: stay out of trouble. Don't hang out with the wrong kind of people.